This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today I'm surprised I actually haven't done a podcast on this yet. I would have definitely talked about it, I suppose, over the last 170 episodes. However, we're going to go into this idea of choose your response. Now, where did this idea come from? I remember hearing this or reading it like many moons ago. I remember where I lived, and I would have been about 19, 20 at the time, and it sort of gave me this idea, and it's nice because I remember hearing it and it conceptually making sense at the time, and then it took me a long time later on in life to actually see the big picture. We got some lifters in the gym, if you can hear that at the moment, but to see the big picture and understand how it sort of fit into into even what I teach now through a communication model. But the idea is that you get to choose your response, and so what that means is that we don't get to choose what happens to us, so to speak, but we do get to choose how we respond to what happens to us. And this is quite interesting, and it's quite interesting because one of the things that I learnt later on, in more recent times, was, and it's something that's quite powerful, and it allows me to help make decisions, but also remind the people that I work with, that I coach, that I speak to, that whichever, that there's more happening, and there's more things that are out of your control, and we've got to be very mindful of splitting those two things: what's in our control and what's not in our control. And one of the things that a lot of people get upset about is, and they're quite, probably comes from a certain level of entitlement, but that's not from like a judgment point of view. It's more like an objective observation standpoint, but that is that we get to choose our actions. We do not get to choose the consequences to those actions. And that's a really important distinction to make. We get to choose our actions, but we do not get to choose the consequences to those actions. And so understanding that is that if we make a decision and somebody else makes a decision about our decision, we're not allowed to be upset about it really deep down. It's like, well, they did this. It's like, it's their life. It's our life. It's like, yeah, but it's still their life. You might have some sort of contract with the government, but and a verbal handshake or something like that, give or take. But it's really understanding that we get to choose our actions, and we do not get to choose the consequences of those actions. And I think that was a really powerful thing for me to understand, that I get to choose my response to everything. If something happens that is perceived bad, well, firstly, why am I perceiving that as bad? And then also B, looking back in life, how many, inverted commas, bad things have happened that turned out to be some of the best things that happened in my life. So a lot of the time we're so quick to judge, not realizing it's setting us up for something else in life that's actually more pleasurable or valuable or fulfilling, something along those lines. So this idea is that there's a lot that we can't control, and it's going back, and this is definitely a look on a lot on stoicism, of going, well, what is in our control? And that's a lot of the time it's the power of our control is our speech, it's our behavior, it's choosing the thoughts we deem to be true, and looking at that, going, cool, then what can I choose as a response? And I think I first actually came across this, if I really think about it, probably Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, because I remember him talking about a proactive and reactive response. And so it sounded pretty good at the time. I remember that being like, proactive is like, moving forward. Reactive is, just reacting. And so later on, I realized that reacting was reactioning a behavior from the past. And then later on, that was probably because we have what's called an object relation with something. So where we have a relationship with something now, would that be a person or a thing or a situation? And we're actually just treating that thing as if it was this other issue that we had in the past, and so we react to it as if it was that. An example being our spouse does something that pisses us off, and so we react to it. But really deep down, it's actually because our father used to do it, and that fucking pissed us off then, so we're just reacting to it. But this person is just living in their human condition and doing their human condition things. They don't necessarily have to or have not to do what is going to appease us, especially if it's something that is about the past that has nothing to do with them. And it's really interesting when looking at that object relation and then understanding that we have a choice to make a proactive or a reactive decision based on choosing our response. And so when we have that space and we give ourselves that space to make a new proactive decision about, and that proactive decision can come down to what's going to be more resourceful and better for my future based on what I want. A reactive decision is often, like I said, reactioning a behavior or a response from the past. And so this is something that's conceptually is great. It makes a lot of sense. But it's truly understanding first, what we need to understand is that life doesn't happen to us. Life happens for us. And, I've heard that a number of times, and it took me a while once again to really get my head around what that meant. But it's not life. Like there's 7 billion people, let alone all the other living organisms on this world. Life's not happening to me. It's happening for me. I'm here and I'm observing it and reacting to it and responding to it and proactively responding to it as reality unfolds in this very moment. Of course, the sun will rise tomorrow, but right now it's not because it's nighttime here. And if that's the case, then I need to be able to look at also dealing with my current situation in this very moment and choosing how I respond to everything that's occurring in reality as it unfolds. And so when we can understand that life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us, we start to have a different lens with how we view the world, how we view reality, and how we view our life within that space. And we give ourselves a bit of a break. We're more compassionate with ourselves, and because we need to understand that if your compassion doesn't include you, then it's incomplete. If you're a nice person to the waiter and you're not nice to yourself, then maybe you're not a nice person. Maybe there's some things that we need to work on to make sure that you are compassionate to yourself, because especially if you plan on having children or letting people close to you, you're not broken. You just have some patterns that maybe need to be addressed if you want to have a different result in the future. And that is the same as giving yourself space to learn how to respond to life so you can yield a different response in the future. Because if you keep on reacting in a particular way, because that's how you're choosing to respond, and it's a reaction, it happens so quickly, then you probably find that used to get a result that used to be beneficial for you, but it's not anymore. And so it's time to give yourself space to breathe, be compassionate and patient with yourself, and then choose a brand new response. And it sounds easy, sure, but there's a lot more to it, I understand, but that's where it all starts. One of the things I think is crucial about this is also the concept's really good, and I hope you get to practice it today for yourself. And as we start to get better at it, and we start to see ourselves respond and stop and then give ourselves a bit of a break and allow ourselves to respond in a different way, it's like, great, I'm getting better at this. And then there's other times that you'll just respond and you'll just react. And we almost treat it as if that's bad. It's like, no, that's not bad. It just is. It's just how you're, dealing with that situation right now. Keep dancing and keep dancing. And what I mean by keep dancing is that people that have mastered dancing didn't stop when they mastered it. People that master dancing keep dancing because it's in their blood. It's who they are now. It's a part of their identity. And so working on ourselves and developing ourselves is very much the exact same process, because when we start to get better at choosing our response and seeing it for what it is and what it's not, then we only get better if we keep doing it. And so that's where the reminder is to keep dancing, is a reminder to be like, you probably step a foot wrong here and there, and that's okay. But you got to press the song to start again, if you want to keep the analogy, and allow yourself to have the opportunity to respond to situations again and again, and you get to choose your response. And when we take responsibility for that, then that's when everything changes. So, very powerful. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for listening to my Barry White voice this evening. I have a little bit of a head cold going on. I feel pretty good though. Yes. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. As always, if you found this podcast beneficial, it would mean the world to me if you would pass it on to someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. If you haven't already, jump on Facebook and search Mood Prep Online. Come and join the conversation, join the group. I just put my ebook download in there as well, and next week I'll have a Q&A in there. Otherwise, if you haven't already and you are a PT, a trainer, or a coach, then I think you should check out the Coaches Circle and find out a bit more about that. Otherwise, that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until tomorrow, peace and pizza. Kick today in the dick. Slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.